And finally, we can start. Okay. Once again, so sorry for the technical difficulties. And let's see what we get. Okay. So far, the last parts that we worked on were related to the Unit 7B, the ideal home, in the section of the student book. Yep. That is the last topic that we got. Remember that you have as well. Careful your mics. The music is good, but still. So, what we got on the Unit 7B, that it was about the ideal home. Yep. Let's take a look. What we got in here. Let's see up to which page we get. Yep. So let's take a look on it. Let me see what we got. And we start on this. Read the article. How many of the people would like to leave home? Up to this one. And on this one, we got the 13 attempts. Yep, just starting to check on the activities and the amount of attempts that we have. The ideal number there, it must be around 13 in order to visualize it all. Yep, 13 attempts as well on the other. On this one as well, 13 on 1D. No problem. Remember that in a couple of weeks, some of the activities are going to be closed. They are not going to be available. So be careful on that. Check the platform. Be sure that you have all the activities just in case. On this one, for example, we get on vocabulary bank 1A, complete the preposition. I only got 12 attempts. Yep. So what I'm going to start doing is something like this. In this case, let me make it visible, the ones that have or have not work on the attempt, so that way we can see it. Yep. Let me show the report, and then you have it. So an example, right, on this one. So I'm going to start sending to you information to your emails or WhatsApp of the activities that are missing. Another thing before we continue is also Altisha. How you're doing on Altisha? You have most of the activity, most of the time, also the percentage, or not yet? How you're working on? So let's go one by one. Veronica Carrion, good morning.
Good morning, teacher.
How are you, Veronica?
How are you, Veronica?
Altisha.
Altisha. Yes, teacher, sorry.
You have worked a little on Altisha or not yet? Or you been able to do it?
Today I'm working on teacher, sorry.
No problem.
No problem.
Thank you. Maybelline Asuncion, good morning.
Good morning.
How we doing on Altisha, Maybelline? Let me share with you all.
Oral.
You get it all? Okay. Remember only to check the percentage, right? Not now the time. It's well, this in this chance, what they are going to do is that they are going to consider only the level of completion. What it means that you, in general, all of you need to concentrate is on the percentage of completion of the activities. If you get an example, Manuel Ortega, and I got 43 activities, but I only have, I got 50 hours, but in that time I didn't complete, then it's exactly the same for the report. Yep. Remember that Altisha for you is 2 points, just in case of your full grade. So be careful on that. Just for you to know what I'm talking about, this is what we have. But here we have on the first place, we have is the number of hours. But an example, if I take here Miss Asuncion, an example, let me see if we can see the report here. This percentage is the one that we need to be worried about. Yep, an example. Yep. So obviously this one must be done for the end of our module. At that time, you're going to have it, but let me see what else. Another example we have with Miss Bruke. she got 5 hours. So in 5 hours, she got 12%. So always try to find this one. Check your full progress. Yep. So your full progress. That percentage is the one that when the coordination check your advance, that is what they are going to concern about. So once again, Manuel Ortega is very slow and I have 50 hours, but in percentage I get 20. So I'm very slow. That is what it counts, not the number of hours, just to avoid the confusion. And one more person, just to take a look. In this case, I'm gonna take a look at Ms. Calderon, the level of completion. And let's see, there you have 53%. Yep. So only that one as a reminder. Yep. Remember to help me out with that before our classes are over. So let's retake it from here. I'm gonna make available now. Did you work on the workbook of 7B, the last class? You were working on that one together or not?
No,
So we get only to the student, only this one.
yes.
Okay. Did we finish all the activities on this one?
No,
We stop at, I get my record up to listening 5A.
yes.
Yep, let me get to the section 3, vocabulary cover. You have also one document on Drive about the difference between and the vocabulary that we got for that one, right? The section 4 reading, activities for B for E, and then we get to listening 5A. So let me take a look at this one. How many attempts we got on this? Yep. Listening 5A. We got 11 attempts. So be careful on that one. The ones that are missing to work on this activity in particular, just take it into consideration. So let's take a look at our next one. That is the activity 5B, that is listen and make notes about the location and the special features of the house. Let me make it visible for you. It must be like closed for the moment. So let me see. Now must be possible for you to open up this one, right? So as usual, let me please to work on my attempt. Let's take a look at what it's about, and then you can work on your own, okay? So I preview my quiz on this activity. I start my attempt, and here you have it. You have, obviously we have an audio track. Listen and make notes about the location and special features of each house. So we have the audio track, and then we have spaces for the speakers. Yep. So let me listen to the audio one time. Let me share with the audio of the computer, and let's take a look at it. Okay, let me listen one more time the track so we can have it done. Yeah, give me one more second.
Mister, we can't listen.
You mean the audio? You didn't listen?
Yes, we can't listen the audio.
Let me see one more chance. I stop sharing a minute. And tell me if now it's possible. I'm gonna play it one more time. Please let me know if it's possible for you to listen to it. Okay, give me a second. So we fix that up.
Four point 23.
What about now? Was it possible?
Yes, we can listen now.
Okay, thank you.
One.
My dream house would be in one of our national parks like Yellowstone or Redwood. It would be totally green. I'd have solar panels and wind turbines, and I'd collect rainwater. The house would be made of wood and would be heated by wood fires. I would try to live off the land as much as possible, and I'd plant vegetables and fruit and maybe have chickens. It would all be organic, with no pesticides or anything like that.
2.
My dream house would be in Paris. It'd be on the top floor of an old apartment building, and I'd have a view of the Eiffel Tower or Notre Dame. It will be full of furniture that I'd found in antiques markets, places like that, and amazing paintings, one of which would turn out to be an undiscovered Picasso or Matisse. There would be a beautiful old dining table and chairs for candlelit dinners. Then all I'd need would be the right person to share it with.
3.
My dream house would be a flat in Soho in New York. It wouldn't be too big. It'd just have a couple of bedrooms and a huge living room with a home cinema. It would be very modern and incredibly practical, with things like automatic temperature control, a kitchen with all the latest gadgets, if possible, a stove that would produce amazing meals on its own. I'm a lazy kind of guy.
4.
If I had to choose where to live, I'd choose Hawaii. So my dream house would be made of glass, with the most amazing view of the beach from every room in the house. And it'd have indoor and outdoor pools. And maybe a tennis court. I'm quite sporty. It would also have a big indoor aquarium. There's something so peaceful about looking at fish. And fabulous bathrooms, of course.
Okay, with that information, with the audio track, what I need is that you help me out, just giving some ideas, some thoughts on the lines that you have right below the speaker number 1, just a couple of ideas. So avoid what we listen to. An example, one more time. In my case, in my attempt, I have little time. Let me listen just number 1 to have an idea how to sort that out.
4.23. 1.
My dream house would be in one of our national parks like Yellowstone or Redwood.
So what idea you have for us about speaker number 1, about their favorite house, their dream house? Where will be located? Listen up one more time, that part.
1.
My dream house would be in one of our national parks like Yellowstone or Redwood.
So where this person wants to have their dream house. So for
National Park.
exactly. So give me keywords. It's okay like that, right? So if I put in here, national park, an example. Yep. So give me a couple of ideas about each one of the speakers when they are describing their favorite place to live in, their dream house, like they refer to. Okay. So starting now, let's take our minutes. Let me see results. Today, our magic number 13 as well. So let's start on it. Yep. Starting now, we got 10 minutes. Please take advantage of the class time. We are working on activity 5B. We got 10 minutes for this one. Yep. There are only 5 attempts. I need a lot more to join, please. Okay, great. Thanks a lot to all the students that are working and taking advantage of the class time. As I'm telling you, that's the whole idea, right? That we can work together and learn our classes. Let's continue, shall we? So I go back to 7B, to the main platform, and let's take a look what we got. So we just finished on activity listening 5B. Yep, that is the one with the we work on. We finished with past grammar. What else we got? Vocabulary. reading section as well. And we got 2, listening and speaking, 5B, that is this one. And now we are going to work on the writing activity. What is about? You're going to describe a house or flat. Remember that flat is the vocabulary word in the British English for apartment. Yep, just in case, flat or apartment in this case. Okay, what we refer to as well, we must find it like for a rental, for a house rental website. It's basically like you are writing a review for Airbnb. Yep. So take into consideration that your whole goal or objective is to attract people. Yep. So your property is the one that is the most attractive one for people wanted to rent it for, I don't know, holidays, vacations, or something like that. Yep. So keep that in mind. We are going to describe it, but it's not like it's your favorite place. Imagine that you have this house or flat and you're gonna put it into rent conditions, mostly the kind of model, business model that we find in Airbnb. Yep, that's what they refer to. Let me make it visible for you. I open the activity and then we continue. Sorry, so let's start on it. Once again, you describe the property, you decide if it's a house or a flat, but the whole point is that you make it attractive in order to be one of the most demanding spots on Airbnb. That is the idea that we should have for the activity, okay? So let's start on it. Let's start now on it. The last activity for our section 7B. With that one, we finished 7B. Okay, starting now, we got 10 minutes. Let's see how we do it in that period of time. 10 minutes to move on, okay? Okay, there's the prudent and coherent time for this activity. Now let's take a look as we follow. Yep, I just put in on the chat your link for the drive. As usual, remember that on the drive, what I have is related to each one of you on your folders, the activities that we work on. Yep, but there is one that is documents where you're gonna find what we have been asked to. Yep. Right now, I'm gonna ask you to help me out working on 7B workbook. As usual, that file, please, if it's possible for you, I mean, if you can transform it into Word, excellent. If you can work on the same document, perfect again. If you create a document, a Google Doc, sorry, and you work on that one and give me only the answers, it's also valid. Yep. So no problem on the format or a fixed form to convert or to find out the answer. No. Actually, you have several options in order to present your work. What we're gonna work on is related to activities of 7B, which we have covered, but we take a look at the following. Yep. There you go. So 7B workbook, we get this. That is, of course, ideal home and what you have worked about. So you have some activities in here, grammar, the second conditional. Remember, we covered the structure of the second conditional, of course, along this unit. One of the clauses, one of the parts, you use simple past, the other you use would. Then you have an activity about pronunciation, but if you find that the activity commands listen, that you need an audio track, obviously you don't work on it. Yep. If the activity got somehow or is somehow related to an audio track, we do not work on it. Okay. So we can work on activity number 1, grammar. Parts A and B. We can work on activity or section 3, that is vocabulary. Section 2 is pronunciation, but they give you or they ask you to work on listen. So that one you're not going to be working on, right? Due to the audio track. So section 3, vocabulary, houses, yes. There you have. To complete the advertisements, and then you have listening, that of course we're not going to be working on listening, that section, and then you have reading. Yep. So we're reading, we wrap it up. So that's it. The file, you're going to find it here. Yep. Students activities is the section or the folder where I have all your work. Right there, you find documents. And on documents, you have 7V WV, workbook. Yep, 7V workbook. That is the one we're going to work on. For that, you're going to be working in pairs. But if the other person is not helping you, tell me. So I give you or I join you to another team. Yep, just in case. We're going to be working in pairs. But once again, maybe the other person is distracted, is not working, is not helping you, let me know so you can work in another team. Okay, questions about the activity? Tell me if it's possible for you to access Drive. You can visualize the document, no problems. Everything in order?
Yes, mister.
Thank you for that confirmation. So I'm going to start the Zoom meetings, the rooms where you're going to be in pairs. That's the idea. But remember, any doubts, any questions, call me out, of course, and then let me know if the other person is helping you or not. Yep. I'm going to create right now your rooms. Please take a look. Check the group section and accept the invitation, please. Check the group section and accept the invitation. Yep. Okay, we are back after the time for the writing activity and the break itself. Is must be visible for you now on the platform. You get the unit 8A, where we're gonna have we're gonna watch a video related to the grammar, that it's a reported speech. Yep, for most of you, I believe that it's kind of familiar what we refer to, in the sense that reported speech basically is that you're repeating what somebody else said before. Yep. The only observation is that we need to be careful with the change on the tenses. Yep. When we repeat someone else's words, then grammatically speaking, you need to be careful is with the change on the tenses and some other time expressions that we are using in the original form. Okay. With that, let me share with you the following. Let me see. As I told you, we are going to observe first a video related to it, and as from there we are going to obtain the changes on the tenses. Okay.
I'm thrilled to be here with a brand new English lesson for you, all about reported speech. I promise you that once you get your head around reported speech, you are going to love it. It helps us to tell stories, to talk about the past, and even to help you confirm information. It's incredibly important and it's incredibly useful. And that is why you are here today, to understand it, to learn how to use it in your fluent, accurate English. Make sure you head down to the description, click on the link to download the free workbook, the epic workbook that I've created to go along with this lesson. You're going to find it so helpful. It has all the explanations, my bonus tips to help you use reported speech accurately, plus some questions that will help you to practice everything that you learn during this lesson, which is very important. Are you ready to dive in? Let's go. So what exactly is reported speech and when do we use it? In English, we use reported speech to say what someone else says, or even what we ourselves have said. And it's sometimes referred to as indirect speech. Reported speech, indirect speech, they're the same thing. Direct speech is the exact words that come out of someone's mouth. She said, "I woke up late this morning." That's direct speech. If we wrote down these words, we'd have to use quotation marks. That's these things, quotation marks. And we'd use quotation marks to show that these are the exact words that they used when they spoke. But in indirect speech or reported speech, we have to change some things like verb tense and pronouns to show that some time has passed since the words were originally spoken, between that time and now when we're retelling this story. She said that she had woken up late that morning. There are 4 steps that we need to follow when we're reporting and now.
At this point of the video, what you can see is the comparison they are making between direct and indirect speech, and in the way that if you're using now, obviously if we are writing, we have the option of the quotation marks, and it's more obvious that we are using direct speech. When we are speaking, again, we have to be into the framework of the grammar, which means that if I repeat, for example, she said I woke up late this morning, what we refer to is that you're repeating literally what the other person mentioned. If it's colloquial, if it's informal, if you are just among friends and you're speaking, it's okay. They're gonna understand and have no problem. But for the grammar, when we go to the indirect speech or reported one, what we need is there to pay attention to the changes that you're gonna have on the tenses as we are developing or repeating once again what somebody else said. Yep. But in indirect or reported speech, there we have to pay attention to those tenses, to those changes that we are going to observe along the video. Yep. The first option, when you get the famous quotation marks, it's informal, it's colloquial, it's accepted, yes, when we are speaking. Yep. But for an exam, those quotation marks, they are not going to save us if the topic is reported speech. Yep. So let's continue on the video.
When we're retelling this story. She said that she had woken up late that morning. There are 4 steps that we need to follow when we're reporting what someone else said. The first thing is we need to add a reporting verb. We need to change the pronouns. We need to change the time and the place words. And finally, we need to backshift the tense. All right. The time and the place words, and finally we need to backshift the tense.
So the professor on the video is showing to us the changes that we're going to make on the tenses or the whole structure in the sentence through 4 steps. Yep. So that's why they mentioned first you're going to add the reporting clause. The reporting clause in green. She said that, she told us. There are different ways or different clauses that you can include in order to make it obvious that you are repeating someone else's words. In this case, that reporting clause is the she said that. Yeah? the very beginning of it. Then the second change is she. The original sentence mentioned by a girl, by a lady, is I woke up late this morning, right? She's talking, she's using I as a pronoun, but like you're repeating her words, then you have to make that change on the personal pronoun, right? That's why I is transformed into she. That depends on the subject, the person that originally told us the information. Yep, that is the second step. Change the pronouns. In this case, we have only one, that is I, transformed into she. The third step in these kind of process or formula to make the change into reported speech, the third step is change the time and place words. Change the time and place words. In this case, the time related word is these morning. Yep. Now, if we are talking about grammar, we're in the middle of a test, and obviously you're preparing for a final exam. But once we cover all the units in this module, we're going to have it like this. So these transforms into that. Yep. Now, what is it? If that happens, once again, we're having a conversation and it's still morning. Yep. So it's possible when you're speaking that you continue with the same time word, this morning. Imagine that you have this conversation at 7 a.m. and then you are repeating these words and it's 10 a.m. Yep, so still morning, it's possible to go with these. But for grammar, for us that we are preparing to approve this final level, you're gonna change it from these to that. Yep, that is the change that we have on the time and place words. These transforms into that. And finally, you get the back shift of the tense. The back shift of the tense is basically like you're repeating, you're always going like one tense back. What it means, the original sentence is in past. If I want to express myself in a tense that is before a past action, the only option that I have is past perfect. Yep. So that's why you have it in there. I woke up, she had woken up. Yeah, woke up, woke, past simple. Woken, past participle. Had woken, past perfect. Don't worry, we're going to observe, there's going to be some table, we're going to have some information about what is the change, just to remember. Yes, because it's always, they are following this kind of rule, they are following this kind of process. And what we observe in there is that you're going to follow those changes from time to time. Yep. So let's go on the video.
Tense. All right, let's take a closer look at this together. My holiday starts next week. Lucky you, we're not going on holiday this year. If I want to retell what these people were talking about to someone else at another time, I would need to use reported speech to do it. This is direct speech. My holiday starts next week. But in reported speech, it needs to change to he said, or the man said, that his holiday started the following week. Lucky you, we're not going on holiday this year. So in reported speech, this changes to she said, or the woman said, that they weren't going on holiday that year. Through speech, it needs to change to he said, or the man said, that his holiday started the following week.
There you have another example. What is it? Always we start, of course, with the direct speech or the original information or sentence that we received. In this case, that sentence is my holiday starts next week. That was said by a man, right? So when you report it, I have to make those changes. So my is transformed into his. Remember that we start always with this time or reported clause. That is, he said that. Yep, he said that. In this case, they are using personal pronouns, but it's possible that you go like Manuel said that. Yep. Ivan said that, depending on the person. I mean, in real life. In this case, for the sentence, for the example, we are just making the change of the personal pronoun. So my holiday starts next week, said by a man. I want to repeat his words. He said that. My impossible that I go with that, right? That information, then I'm gonna make a confusion. So he said that his holiday started. So the original, the verb is in simple present, starts. Yep, simple present into simple past. His holiday started. And then we have another change. Remember that we also have to be careful and make changes on the time clauses, words, or expressions. In this case, the expression is following. Yeah, following. For him, at the moment that I received that information, following. If the time passes, imagine that you received this information like a couple of weeks ago, 1 month ago. Then when you're repeating those words, that following is not going to be able to be used. Yeah, you know what I mean? So in that case, that following turns into next, right? That is the change that you're going from one to the other. Okay, so the original one gives me the information. My holiday starts next week, but imagine that you talk to this person like 1 month. Yeah, 1 month ago. When you're repeating that information to somebody else, it's impossible that you go with next. So you're going to create confusion if you are repeating someone else's words and at the same time you're using the same expressions of time. Impossible, because we understand that when you're repeating, time passes. Once again, depends on how much time passes from the original information and when you repeat it. Imagine that you're having this conversation today, right at this moment. My holiday starts next week, and then you repeat this one in the afternoon. So it's possible. Yeah, it's possible that you go and play with those. But in grammar, for us, for the module, for your exam preparation, we are going to follow the rules. So next transformed into following. My transformed into his, in this case, because a man is expressing this idea originally. Let's see what else.
Lucky you, we're not going on holiday this year. So in reported speech, this changes to she said, or the woman said, that they weren't going on holiday that year.
There you see the direct speech. In this case, we have a lady that is expressing this idea, and the lady goes with lucky you, we're not going on holiday this year. The change, once again, you begin with the introduction, the reported clause, the time clause. She said that. They, we into they. Then you begin to see the changes, right? As we are seeing examples, don't worry. We are going to have a table like a summary of the changes. So we into they. And the direct speech or original information or a sentence, what you get in here is we are not going. We are present, the verb to be in present changes into past. We are not or weren't. Yep. Going on holiday, and again, this word, these. That is also a word related to time expressing when we are using it in English, right? These weekend, these week, these Tuesday. Then you are referring to a specific time in the future, in the near future. So they change for us. Every time we see this word these, we change it into that.
Throughout this whole video, the speech bubbles are going to show you direct speech. Reported speech is going to be written below the speech bubble, okay? There's a visual link to follow here. Let's break it down. For reported speech, first of all, we need to start with a reporting verb or a reporting clause. He said, or the man said that. She said, the woman said that. What is the reporting verb in these examples though? Say. The most common reporting verbs in English are say and tell. Tell is a transitive verb, so it always needs an object when it's used, whereas say doesn't need to have an object.
Here, the professor is introducing basically the two verbs that you're gonna use when we are repeating, when we are forming, right? All these sentences that I'm repeating information received before, we get say and we get tell. But what is the difference? They also mention it, right? That one is transitive. I mean, the information related to the grammar itself is telling me that one is transitive and the other not. What it means, the following. Transitive means that you need an object. Wow, that look of the professor. So you need an object. Tell plus object. What it means, you need something more. Yeah. With say, that does not happen. So that's why we have the sentences, right? She said that. You don't put any person after. So let's continue seeing with the examples. We're going to clarify this, the use of or the difference between say and tell when you are using them in the middle of reported speech.
Whereas say doesn't need to have an object. I've got a really useful lesson that might help you to jog your memory about these verbs, about say and tell. It's linked up here, but I'm going to put it at the end as well if you want to review. Let's look at another example. I saw Judy last week. This is direct speech, isn't it? And we can use indirect speech to report. She said that she had seen Judy last week. Or she told me that she had seen Judy last week.
There you have the example of this different use between say and tell. Yep. What is the obvious difference when they are using in reported speech and it's a choice, right? Depending also on what kind of information you have. So she told me. The information was shared directly to you. So you want to make some emphasis on that, the transitive of the information. So in this case, she told me. That is exactly the difference. Why? She said that I'm not being specific about the information is transmitted from whom to whom. So she said that. In this case, when you use told in the past, you need an object. Remember, they say tell plus object. Object is that, for example, me. She told me. It's a mistake that you go like she told. Yeah, she told, and nothing more. Impossible. That is the mistake, and that is the difference that they are referring to in the use that they are given here between say and tell.
She told me, or she said that, but not she told that, or she said me.
There you have the difference. They picture the normal mistakes that we make sometimes when we are using these two verbs indistinctly. She said that, she told me, but not the opposite, right? Never. Like I told you before, she told that. No, right? No. Why? Because tell is transitive. What it means that after tell, you need a pronoun like me, him, her, and also the opposite. She said to me. She said me. No. Yep. Intransitive for reported speech. So she said that. She said that. Careful in the use of these two. You have the two options. So now I want to use only said, and I'm going to use all my sentences. I'm going to write all my sentences in that structure and go like she said that. Great. Go for it. No problem. In real life, when you are transmitting information, she said, go ahead. No problem. Yep. When it's about an exam and you need to show to prove your level, then it's extremely important that you go and make these differences. What I mean, I'm going to use both of them to show to the person that is listening to me, to the examiner, that I have the level. Yep. So it depends on the situation, but speaking, not a problem. Okay. She said that. I mean, if you repeated only that one as the beginning of your reported speech information, she said that, she said that, she said that, not a problem, right? Or she told me all the time. Yep. Not a problem. You can repeat it as many times as you want. You decide which one to use. Yep. One recommendation would be that if it's important to make some or to emphasize, yeah, the information is received by whom, then she told me. So you want to make the other people be sure that actually you received that information before you're passing that one on. Yep. So in that case, once again, depending the context, we're going to have some options. But those mistakes that we have there pointed out, she told that or she said me, never, never. Grammatically speaking, it's a huge fallback. Yep.
No, no, no. Okay, let's go back to the examples from before. We need to take a close look at the pronouns we're using when we change from direct speech to reported speech. And in these examples, my becomes his and we becomes they. We need to do this to make sure the meaning of the sentence stays the same. I know that it's a little bit confusing, but why don't we compare two sentences together so that I can explain it a little more for you? My holiday starts next week. He said that my holiday started the following week. Hang on, whose holiday? Mine or the man's? The man is talking about his own holiday, not mine. So, to make sure that the meaning stays the same, we have to change the pronouns in reported speech to reflect that. He said that his holiday started the following week. The third step is to change any time and place words. So here, next week becomes the following week, and this year becomes that year. The first and most important thing that you need to remember here is that the time references need to change in reported speech. So do words like here and there, this and that, they all need to change. And we do this to create a sense of distance or time past. But it can be a little tricky to guess exactly how these words change. That's why I've put together a list of typical changes to time and to place words, and I've put them into the worksheet that I've created for you. Plus, there are some practice questions to help test what you know and to make sure it sticks in your brain. The last thing you need to do is to backshift the tense. If you've studied with an English grammar textbook before, you might have heard this word and thought, backshift, what is that? What's backshift? Well, kind of self-explanatory. It means we need to shift the tense back by 1 degree. So in our examples here, the present simple changes to the past simple. And in this sentence, the present continuous changes to the past continuous. Remembering which tense to use and when is probably the trickiest thing about reported speech. But don't fear, never fear. I have put all of them into a list for you. Again,
this summary is the one that I was telling you about. Yep. So this is mandatory, obviously, if you are being evaluated about the direct and reported speech, that change, that could be actually backwards. What I meant, normally you go from direct speech into reported speech, but you can go backwards as well. Present, kind of a, if you take a look, present simple, past simple, present continuous, past continuous, present perfect, past perfect, present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous. So not a problem, right? From present, past. What happens when we get any form of past? You get past simple. Remember, it's like you're moving before that time. So if the original sentence was expressed in past simple, the only way to express it before is the past perfect. Past continuous, past perfect continuous, past perfect, no change. There is no form that express time before past perfect. So past perfect, that's why you observe no change. And past perfect continuous, exactly the same. Past perfect, no change. Yep, that's why they refer it to it. And then some other parts, like if you get future and you get be, that is the part that is going to change. The future is be going to, right? One form. I am going to study. It's one form of expressing future. But in here, the part that actually changes is the verb to be. That's why you got was, where, and going to. Yep. Then you have future. Future will transforms into would. Would. Yep. Forget about the L in the pronunciation. Would. Okay. Future continuous. Future continuous is will be ing. So the change will be ing. But once again, this one is only like an introduction. We have some material obviously on the platform. On that, we're gonna work. The video is for you to have the idea, to discuss a little, to take a look. So the changes get these rules, okay? When we practice reported speech, the ideal is that you can actually remember these changes, okay? So let's continue on it.
Included in your workbook. I know this might look a little bit intimidating, but I'll show you a couple of hacks that will make it easy for you to learn the rules. First of all, the future tenses are simple. All of these future tenses in English are formed with the auxiliary verb will. And in reported speech, all we need to do is shift will to would. I'll meet you at the corner in half an hour. He said that he would meet me at the corner half an hour later. Will is simple, but we can also form future sentences in English with be going to. So in this case, we need to shift am, is, or are back to was or were. We're going to the movies tonight. They said that they were going to the movies that night. Look at that! We've already crossed 5 tenses off that list. Now we're left with the present tense and the past tenses, and I promise it's not as complicated as it looks. We just need to look at the tenses in a slightly different way. There are 3 overarching English tenses, aren't there? The past, the present, the future. And within each of these tenses, there are 4 modes. Say them with me. The simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous.
There you have another way, right, to show the changes that you're going to make on the tenses. And the professor, what he's trying to do is like to simplify it. Yep. So the forms that you use, that we use in every single of the tenses, it's clear that in English you have a great or big classification: present, past, and future. Yeah. But each one of them has a different tenses classification or expressions. Simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. So what it means: present simple, present continuous; past simple, past continuous; future simple, future continuous, and so on. Yep. It's the equivalent. I don't know if you studied when I was a long time ago, when I was in elementary school, what I get is a presente perfecto. El infinitivo, pretérito pluscuamperfecto, and something like that. So in English, you have these structures like this one's divided. Yep. So in this part of the video, the professor, what she's trying to do is actually to give us that idea, right? The basic concepts, how you divide it, and why? Because you're gonna create patterns. What it means to be easier to remember what to do.
We can get rid of the future tenses because we've already learned about will and be going to. Looking at this chart, it's easy to see how the tenses will shift. The present tenses all shift back 1 degree to the equivalent tense in the past. The present simple becomes the past simple. These 2 tenses mirror each other. We live on Elm Street. She said that they lived on Elm Street. For the past tenses, it's not quite as simple because we don't have another column of tenses that can mirror these ones, but we can still shift back 1 degree. The past simple becomes the past perfect, And the past continuous becomes the past perfect continuous. I was washing the dishes at the time. He said that he had been washing the dishes at that time. And last but not least, the past perfect and the past perfect continuous, they just stay the same. We can't shift them back by 1 degree because there are no more tenses back there to go to, right? So they stay the same. There's no change there. I've been listening to music. She said she had been listening to music. Now, it can be tricky to remember all of this information, but don't worry, you're going to find all of it plus exercises and examples to help you practice in that workbook that I created for you. I keep talking about how epic this workbook is. Just go and download it. It is so full of great tips and little hacks to help you remember and also practice everything that we're learning in this lesson. Now, this wouldn't be an English lesson if there wasn't an exception, right? There are some instances where we don't backshift the tense in reported speech. So this happens when the information that you're reporting is current. So, for example, the company told their staff that they're moving offshore. You'll see this form of reported speech used a lot in the news. It's current information. It's happening now. So the reporting is probably happening really close to the time that the information was said. And this is where you might often see some other reporting verbs used, verbs that might be a little more formal, like announced or reported. And actually, you'll find a list of some of the other reporting verbs in the workbook. Now, we don't backshift the tense when the information is ongoing. I love my family. She said that she loves her family.
As you mentioned, most of the grammar rules, not only in English, but in all the languages, we are going to find some exceptions. And here you have one of it. So what is it? The original one is, she said that she loves her family. That is the reported one, right? The original, this lady is saying, I love my family. Okay. So this one, it's a feeling, it's an affection, it's not changing. So if you take a look at the verb in the reported sentence, it's in present simple as well. She said that she loves, present simple. The original sentence is in present simple as well, but refers to emotions, to affections, some things that when you're reporting them closer, they do not change. Yeah, they do not change at least in the closer time.
To love something or someone is an ongoing state, so we wouldn't usually change the tense here. And if you do, it makes it sound like she loved her family in the past, but now she doesn't. So you really do need to be careful about this. If it's an ongoing state or condition, we don't move that tense backwards. And we don't backshift when we're reporting something that happened very recently. Then we don't need to change the tense either. For example, if I just got off the phone and I'm telling you what I heard in a conversation.
I'll be about 15 minutes, okay?
Oh, Shah said that he's running late. He'll be here in 15 minutes. We don't only use reported speech for statements. We can also use them to report questions as well. And this is super useful in a professional context where you're sharing information with customers or with clients or with colleagues. There are two types of questions in English. You probably know them. I've mentioned them in several videos before. We have closed questions, yes, no questions, and open questions, or sometimes referred to as WH questions. Closed questions, these are questions where the answer can only be yes or no, like this one. Are you going on holiday? These questions are reported like this. He asked if or whether we were going on holiday.
Take a good look. Once again, then we are going back to the platform and we're going to work on our material, right? The idea of the video is that you get a little extent explanation about it, some more information, trying to cover as much as possible of the reported speech grammar. But we based all the activities, obviously your exam in the future is based on the material that we got on the platform. I want to be clear, okay? In this case, we have reported statements, we have reported sentences, but you do not only repeat sentences in real life. It's possible that you have to report questions. That's why she refers to two types of questions. This is the first type, closed. Closed questions are the famous yes or no questions. Are you going on holiday? That question got two options, yes or no. Every time that the answer is or get only these two options, yes or no, you are referring or you are asking a closed question. Now, how you report it. Take a look at the first change. We're not using say or tell. We don't have there said or told. What you have is asked. He asked. And every time that is a closed question, you're gonna use if or whether. Any of the two, no problem. He asked if, he asked whether. We were going on holiday. If you take a look at the reported speech part, you are not making the question again. The question actually is transformed into a sentence. We were going on holiday. Yep. The original question, are you going on holiday? He asked if we were going on holiday. No question mark. We are not making a question again. No. We are repeating the question that was asked by somebody else before. Yep. So that observation we got in there. Okay. Every time that you are reporting closed questions, what are closed questions? The questions that got two options as an answer, yes or no. Those are closed questions. Every time you're reporting closed questions, you're going to begin or you're going to follow this structure. He asked, in this case, right? There's a man, there's a boy there. He asked if or whether, any of the two, it's okay. If or whether we were going on holiday. Then the other changes are normal. Remember, the verb to be, are, now is where. Okay? Closed questions, the first type of questions.
So just like in our statements, we need to start with a reporting clause, but this time we need a question reporting verb like ask or inquire or wonder. And instead of that, we're completing the reporting clause with whether or if. Then we need to add the content of the question. But we need to use the word order of a statement. So that's subject, verb, object, right? Now, let's think about this for a minute, because in normal speech, when we ask a question, we invert the auxiliary verb and the subject, don't we? A normal statement would be subject, verb, object, and that becomes verb, subject, object, right? So we're running late becomes are we running late? But in a reported question, we use if or we use whether and then the statement word order following. He asked if we were running late. Subject, verb, object. Let's do another one. Have you been to Rome before?
Obviously, we are observing another example of closed question. Once again, how do you know it's a closed question? The answers, the possibilities, the options for your answer are two, yes or no. Have you been to Rome before? So let's follow the change that we are making. Yep.
He inquired whether I had been to Rome previously. All the other steps remain exactly the same. We add a reporting clause, we change the pronouns, we change the time and the place words, and we backshift the tense.
There you have the change, right? He inquired. Another verb, like the professor mentioned, that we are going to use if you're reporting questions. He asked, he inquired, and she mentioned also wondered. Yep. But that is up to you. If the exercise does not ask you to change, you report 5 questions and you'll put in all of them. He asked, and no problem. Then after the verb, you get the word whether. Why we use this one? Because the questions that we are reporting, they are closed. Yeah, whether I had been, had. The original question get have been, present perfect, have been. The change had been, yeah, to Rome. And the word or the expression of time, in this case, the original was before, now is previously, yeah. Before transform into previously.
We backshift the tense. In an open question, and remember this is a question that starts with a question word like who, what, where, why, when, which, or how, we keep that question word, but we switch the verb and the subject around, just as we did with the closed question. So like this, where are you going on holiday? Becomes, he asked where we were going on holiday. So we have a reporting clause with a question word and our question in a statement word order.
Now we are seeing the changes or the way that we are going to transform an open question. Why an open question? Because the options for answer are multiple. It's not yes or no. No. In this case, the information could vary according to the question word that you are using. She presented to you a list of question words. Who, where, what, when, all those, right? The question words. When you use a question word, your type of question is open. And when it's open, you follow this path. He asked, I use the same question word where we were going on holiday. So are you, verb to be in present, or we change it for where. Okay. The question, remember, that transforms into a statement. I don't make another question again. No, the structure, the expression of the question itself gets into a statement. That's what we are observing in here.
Following. All the same rules about changing the pronouns, the time and place words, and the tense, they all still apply. You just follow a slightly different structure. Now, you have almost made it to the end of this lesson, but I do want to offer you a couple of bits of bonus advice. I really want you to take your reported speech skills up to the next level. So I want to talk about some other really functional statements in English that frequently occur in reported speech, like giving advice, explaining instructions, making requests or making promises, and offers. All of these important functions in English, they often occur in reported speech. Let's look at some examples. You shouldn't make.
There, we're gonna get into our platform to see if we're gonna cover all those types. Yep. So once again, reported, you are repeating what somebody else said before. When you are talking, you can say statements, positive sentences, negative sentences, questions, exclamations. You can give advice, you can give recommendations. So normal conversation. Reported speech, you're repeating all those options. So according to what you're repeating and the way that you're using reported speech, what you're gonna have is that there are specific changes on the tenses, on the time expressions or words. Yeah, that one is part of the process, like steps that we must fulfill, that we have to accomplish in order to have it right. Okay, let me show to you first as general the structure of the unit that we're gonna cover. Right now, we're gonna start on unit 8A. The grammar itself is reported speech related to sentences and questions. The vocabulary is about shopping, making nouns from verbs. And the pronunciation is the letters or the combination of the vowels A, I. Okay, that's what we are going to cover along here. And you can have in here, for example, related to the grammar, look at the home page of a new website. What do you think you can sell or buy there? So they present to you this layout. Then we're gonna have listen to part of the radio program about this new website. We are going to make some selections. We got the Grammar Bank 8A. Let me show that to you. And here you have it. So the grammar, that actually this extract, this image that you are observing now, you have it on the platform. They are given to you that change, right? From direct to reported statements. And you have, I like traveling, always between the original, between quotation marks, because they want to express that you're repeating literally what the other person said. She said that she liked traveling. Original, the verb like, present simple. Reported, past simple, liked. I'm leaving tomorrow. As you can see, the extract is given to you some words in different color, in this case, blue. I'm leaving tomorrow. So they are telling you what parts they are going to be modified. He told her he was leaving the next day. That is the way that we transform actually tomorrow. Yep. At the moment that you receive the information, the person originally tells you tomorrow. But when you repeat that information, that tomorrow gets into the next day. Okay. I'll always love you. I'll always love you. I'll, right? The contraction of I will. That will transform into would. There you have it. He would. I passed. ED, past simple, I passed the exam. She told me she had passed. Past simple into past perfect. I have forgotten my keys. I have forgotten my keys. I have. Contraction of I have. I have forgotten is an example of the present perfect. Yep, this statement is in present perfect. He said he had forgotten his keys. Present perfect into past perfect. And the adjective, right? My. Yes, the possessive adjective, my, in this case, his. Why his? The original information was said by a boy, by a man, masculine, male. That's why they are using that one. That depends on who is telling us the main information. I can't come, can't, you replace it or it's transformed into couldn't. Couldn't. She said she couldn't come. Next one, I may be late. I may be late. May into might. And must into had to. There you have the changes that are proposed in this case. Yep. The changes, present simple, past simple, will, would, past perfect, present perfect, past perfect, can, could, may, might, must, had to. Yep. They also refer here to the difference between say and tell. They propose also as a recommendation, they go like, be careful, the tenses don't change. And then you have the option of or the section, sorry, of the reported questions. In this case, you have direct questions, the column, right? Direct questions or the original information, and reported ones. In direct questions, you have, are you married? Remember, are you married? You have two options of answer, yes or no. Yep. When you have those two options, we got a closed question. She asked him if he was married. She asked him if he was married. Did she phone? Another example of closed question. How do I know? The options for the answer are two, yes or no. Did she phone? He asked me whether she had phone. Yep. Past simple, that question. Did she phone? Past simple transform into past perfect. Then you have, what's your name? What's your name? It's an open question. You have multiple choices for answer. What's your name? I asked him what his name was. I asked him what his name was. Present, past. Where do you live? Where do you live? Present simple. They asked me where I live. They asked me where I lived. Yep. There we have the options. Okay. So let's continue. Let's take a look. Let me open the platform and let's see what we start with. So we get to unit 8A, Sell and Tell, student book. We get section number 1, that is grammar. Look at the home page of a new website. What do you think you can sell or buy there? Then, sorry, this mouse is not working properly. Let's take a look. You have some audios to listen to some parts of the radio program, right? And to find out if you guess. What is the guess about, right? What information they are telling you about? It's refers to the following part. Give me a second. Here, they refer to this part where you're observing the different options related to the website. Yeah, buy it, sell it, tell it, welcome. So based on this information, based on that image, is that you have as a complement the audio tracks. So just let's listen to it just to confirm if we are having the right information based on it.
.32.
We're talking about great new shopping websites, and I think we have time for one more. Janice, can you tell us about it?
Well, it's called neverlikedItanyway.com. It's a very clever name for a website, as you'll hear. This site was the idea of an American woman called Annabelle Acton. She was living in New York with her boyfriend, who was English. He had invited her to travel to London with him at Christmas to meet his family. But 5 days before Christmas, they broke up. Now, unlike some of us, Annabelle didn't want to sit around crying and eating ice cream. She wanted to do something positive.
So what gave her the idea for the website?
Well, after the breakup, Annabelle was left with a plane ticket to London that she didn't need. She also had jewellery that she didn't want anymore, and she had tickets to a concert that she didn't want to go to without her boyfriend. She also had paintings which they had bought together, which she didn't want on her wall anymore. She didn't want any of these things herself, but she thought someone somewhere would probably like to buy them, and that's what gave her the idea to set up the website.
What exactly is it?
Well, it's a website where people who have just broken up with a partner can sell presents and other things that they don't want anymore, maybe because they remind them of their ex, or maybe, as the name suggests, because they never liked these things anyway. And the idea, which I think is brilliant, is that they also tell the personal story behind the thing they are selling. Annabelle calls it sell and tell.
What kind of things do people sell on the website?
Oh, everything. From something as small as a teddy bear to really expensive things like an engagement ring or a holiday. To give you an idea, today on the site, one seller is offering a 3-day honeymoon package at a luxury hotel in New York, and a woman is selling her ex-boyfriend's car. And they're selling all these things at very good prices. So on Never Liked It Anyway, you can get a bargain and also help someone who is going through a breakup.
Thanks, Janice. And that's all we've got time for today.
Remember that these activities in particular, it's for you to practice, right? That's why you have the audio track, you have some questions in there. So on your free time, when you're checking the platform information, once again, go through these activities. What is the purpose of this one? Obviously, your listening skills to improve a little bit your listening skills in that case. So that's why you have the information, you have some question in there, you listen to the track and you practice. Yep, that's the whole point in this part.
(4.32)
We're talking about great new shopping websites, and I think we have time for one more. Janice, can you tell us about it?
Well, it's called neverlikedItanyway.com. It's a very clever name for a website, as you'll hear. This site was the idea of an American woman called Annabelle Acton. She was living in New York with her boyfriend, who was English. He had invited her to travel to London with him at Christmas to meet his family. But 5 days before Christmas, they broke up. Now, unlike some of us, Annabelle didn't want to sit around crying and eating ice cream. She wanted to do something positive.
So what gave her the idea for the website?
Well, after the breakup, Annabelle was left with a plane ticket to London that she didn't need. She also had jewellery that she didn't want anymore, and she had tickets to a concert that she didn't want to go to without her boyfriend. She also had paintings which they had bought together, which she didn't want on her wall anymore. She didn't want any of these things herself, but she thought someone somewhere would probably like to buy them, and that's what gave her the idea to set up the website.
What exactly is it?
Well, it's a website where people who have just broken up with a partner can sell presents and other things that they don't want anymore, maybe because they remind them of their ex, or maybe, as the name suggests, because they never liked these things anyway. And the idea, which I think is brilliant, is that they also tell the personal story behind the thing they are selling. Annabelle calls it sell and tell.
What kind of things do people sell on the website?
Oh, everything. From something as small as a teddy bear to really expensive things like an engagement ring or a holiday. To give you an idea, today on the site, one seller is offering a 3-day honeymoon package at a luxury hotel in New York, and a woman is selling her ex-boyfriend's car. And they're selling all these things at very good prices. So on Never Liked It Anyway, you can get a bargain and also help someone who is going through a breakup.
Thanks, Janice. And that's all we've got time for today.
Perfect. Let's move on. Here you have also the link for the website. So it goes like, now look at 3 things from the website and answer the questions with a pointer. Yeah. Would you like to buy any of them? Which breakup do you think was the worst? Do you have anything you would like to sell on the website. And they give us this link. As you can observe, here is the link that we follow through and get you to the web page of Never Liked It Anyway. Yep. So what is the point? Once again, here, what you can do is that you advertise what you want to sell for any reason, a breakup, what they mentioned, right? Maybe you receive a gift that you don't like it so much, so you want to sell it. Something from a relationship, from your boyfriend, from your girlfriend, you're not together anymore, so you want to sell it. Then you have this option too. Yeah, this is the website they refer to that actually is real. Never Liked It Anyway. Buy and sell all things. So you decide what to advertise, what to post, and you're gonna receive some offers, right, based on it. So let's take a look at this one. We are working on activity 1E. What do you think were the actual words that the people use when they said the things? Okay, let's take a look. Let me open my attempt. Look at 4 sentences from the website. What do you think were the actual words that the people use when they said their things? Yep. Let's see what else we got. There you have, right? You have the option, the multiple choice option menu. She said that she'd come and pick it up. And the options we have, I'm in love with another woman who gave it to you. Is it new? I'll come and pick it up. So from there you choose according to the sense we have. I asked if it was new. So the real words, actually some of them are very obvious. They are kind of very, very close to the options you have there. I asked her who had given it to her. Yep. And the final one, my fiance told me that he was in love with another woman. Yep. There is, I'm in love with another woman. Okay. So let's choose for the, help me out. For the first one, obviously, which one we choose?
I'll come and pick up.
Perfect. There we have one. For the second, I asked if it was new.
Is it new?
Good. Next one, I asked her who had given it to her.
Who gave it to you?
Perfect. And finally, this one, right? I'm in love. That one is O. I'm in love with another woman. So I finished my attempt with your recommendations. And let's take a look. With that information, this is my score. So I leave it there for 10 seconds. You can have it as a reference and you can work on your own attempts. There you have it. And now it's time for me to check on your results. And this one must be super fast to work on it. But obviously you get 10 minutes, right? The activity is designed to have 10 minutes as a gap. Perfect. I already got a couple of answers. Let's work on it. I got 5 attempts. Remember, the magic number for the moment must be 11. So let's work on it, please. Great. We got all the attempts, so we can continue. Let me go back to the main page. We're just starting on unit 8A. Yep. So let's see what else we got. We just worked on this section 1E. there you have the information that I showed to you. Here you have kind of a summary about the grammar related to the reported speech, the changes on the tenses, the difference between say and tell, when there are no changes on the tenses, also the way that you're going to report questions, whether they are closed or open ones, the difference between them. So there is the summary, right? The box that I showed to you before, there you have the information as well. So let's take a look at here. Grammar 1A. Complete the sentences using reported speech. Let's take a look. Let me open my attempt. Let's work on that one first. Let's take a look what it's about. And here you have it. You receive original information, right? An example, I'm in love with another woman. My boyfriend told me he was in love with another woman. You have, I'm selling all my books. My brother said, and then you put it in here. What would be a good recommendation? So for example, I use I. I use this pronoun, I. Or I have to change it. Like it's reported speech. You're repeating another person's words. I'm selling all my books was said by my brother, right? So my brother said he was selling all his books. An example in there, right? He was selling all his books. I've booked, number 2, I've booked the flights. Emma told me, now it's Emma, so I begin with she. What tense is that? I have booked. What tense are we using in the original sentence? I booked. You remember have and past participle? What is that tense? When you use have and past participle. Don't be shy. Tell me if you remember or if you don't. Not a problem. Every time that you have have and the past participle of a verb, in this case booked, you're using present perfect. Yep. I have booked. Present perfect, what I have to transform into? Present perfect comes into, remember, everything that is present transform into past.
Past.
Exactly. So we have present perfect. Now we are going to use past perfect. Yep. So in this case, she had booked. Yep. The flights. Yep. Like that. Okay. So let's continue working on this one. Starting now, you got your 10 minutes.